In our study yesterday,
muchidzidzo chedu chanezuro
we spoke about the first angel and the second angel.
takataura nezvengirozi yekutanga neyechipiri.
We spoke about the messages that they have.
Tikataura nezvemameseji avainawo.
And we also spoke about the United Nations.
Takataurawo zvakare nezveUnited Nations.
So I don't know if anybody's had any thoughts since yesterday.
Handisi kuti pane akava nedzimwe pfungwa here kubva nezuro.
The United Nations.
United Nations.
Is it the dragon power?
Isimba redragon here.
Who wants to give a summary of what we said?
Ndiani anoda kutipawo samari yezvatakataura?
Somebody? Erica?
Erica.
Well, as we realized that they had really no power.
As we realise that the UN doesn't really have that much power,
Takazviona kuti UN havana masimba akanyanyisa.
And by that, thinking that how can it be dragon power?
then how can it be the dragon power?
Then inova gova seiko simba redragon.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tabasa pane mumwe here?
Liberty?
Liberty.
We discussed that the institutions within the UN are designed to do good.
We discussed that the institutions within the UN are designed to do good,
Takataura kuti mainstitution ari mukati meUN akagadzirirwa kuti aite zvakanaka.
And the UN tries to implement those institutions.
and the United Nations is still trying to implement those directives.
United Nations ichiri kuramba ichida kuti implemente madirectives vayo kana mainstitution
Still
wayo.
trying to do good.
Ichiri kuzama kuda kuita zvakanaka.
And it's very limited because of the way it operates, democracy.
So democracy limits its capabilities of what it can and cannot do.
Saka democracy ndo inolimita macapability ekuti inogona kuita zvipi uye haigoni kuita zvipi.
It is its weakness, not its fate.
I'm going to suggest it's both its weakness and its strength.
Ndichasagista kuti ndiyo weakness yayo uye ndo
It's its
kusimba
weakness
kwayo.
because it can't do things,
Iweakness yayo nekuti haigoni kuita zvinhu.
but the strength of democracy is that it's supposed to prevent dictators or bad agents rising up.
Asi simba redemocracy nderekuti inofanira kudzivirira madictator kana maagencies asina kunaka kuti asasumuka.
Are we good with that?
Zvakanaka
Thank
here.
you.
Aita basa.
So if the UN isn't a dragon power, I'm not going to discuss it at this moment, but we'd want to consider who that dragon power is.
Kana UN isiri dragon power, tikuzotaura nezvazvo izvezvi, asi toda kuona kuti dragon power inenge iri chii.
And if you remember, I think Kobus gave us sort of a brief overview or a brief idea of what that dragon power could be.
Kana muchirangarira Kobus akatipawo idea imwe muchidimbu yekuti dragon power iyoyo inogona kunge iri chii.
So we spoke about the first angel's message.
Takataura nezvemessage yengirozi yekutanga.
We said that that was Elder Jeff.
Kati vanga vari Elder Jeff.
The second angel's message,
Message yengirozi yechipiri.
people seem to indicate that it was me.
Vanhu vakaita sekunge vakati ndini.
Just want to remind us that there are still people in the movement that don't believe that, by the way.
Ndoda kungotirangaridza kuti pane vanhu movement still vasingazvitendi izvozvo.
I don't mean that to be provocative,
asi kuzvitaura kuti tive
I'm just stating that as a
provocative
matter of fact, that it's not an established truth.
ndingozvitaura sefact kuti haisi chokwadi chiri established.
Third angel, we didn't get to the third angel.
hatina kuzosvika kungirozi yetatu.
Who do people believe that the third angel is?
Vanhu vanotenda kuti ngirozi yetatu ndiani?
Elder Tess. Most people believe it's Elder Tess.
Elder Tess. Vanhu vakawanda vanotenda kuti ndi Elder Tess.
So let's see what the message says. So we're going to do what we did yesterday. Just read the verse that speaks about it.
Toona kuti message yacho inoti kudii. Tichaita zvatakaita nezuro, toverenga vhesi, totaura nezvayo.
So in Revelation 14.
Tiri muna Revelation 14.
Verse 9.
Ndima ya 9.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any person worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God.
Ngirozi yetatu yakavateverera ikataura nezwi guru ikati kana paine
Revelation 14:9 and the first part of verse 10.
zvakazarurwa 14 ndima ya 9 nepekutanga pevhesi 10. Kana paine munhu anonamata chikara
Some people may not
nemufananidzo
have one.
wacho.
Do you have a... Can you not translate from that? You can paraphrase.
Okay, zvakazarurwa 14 ndima ya 9 nepekutanga pevhesi 10. Kana paine munhu
Whole of verse 9 and the first part of verse 10.
kana paine munhu anonamata chikara nemufananidzo wacho kana anogamuchira munembo wacho pahuma kana paruoko rwake, iyeye munhu achamwa waini yekutsamwa kwaMwari.
Loyo uyakuphunza iwayini lolaka likaNkulunkulu olungagutshiwe uyozwisa ubuhlungu ngomlilo kanye nesibabu phambi kwengilosi naphambi kweWundlu.
So how does those words tie up with Elder Tess's message?
Saka mavara aya anosungana sei nemeseji yaElder Tess?
What did Elder Tess teach?
Elder Tess akadzidzisa chii?
What is her message?
Meseji yavo ndeyekuti kudii?
Uthini umlayezo wakhe?
Cobus?
Cobus.
I think she taught exactly Revelation 14.
Cobus
You think that
ati
she taught Revelation 14?
vakadzidzisa Revelation 14.
She explained to us the mark of the beast.
She explains the mark of the beast.
Vakatitsanangurira munembo wechikara.
I think it's more than that. I'm not going to go much into it, but she fulfilled that thing in every sense, I believe.
So you have to tell us a bit more detail.
Unofanira kutiudza rimwe detail rakati wandei.
So you said that she explained or defined the mark of the beast.
Wati vakatsanangura kana kuti vakadefine mark
So-
of the beast.
Can you tell us what the beast is
Unogona kutiudza here kuti chikara ndechipi
and what its mark is,
uye munembo wacho ndeupi,
as taught by Elder Tess?
semudzidzisirwo wazvakaitwa naElder Tess.
The beast she described, as I understand it, as United States of America.
So she said the beast was the USA,
Saka chikara vakati USA,
That's the lamb-like beast that started to talk like a dragon.
so that was the lamb-like beast of Revelation 13?
saka ndo chikara chinoita
12?
kunge wayana
13. Revelation 13 that speaks as a dragon.
And it starts speaking.
chinozotaura
isilo
sedragon.
esifana newundi kodwa bese sikhuluma njengodrago uRevelation 13.
She also identified what he will speak.
She identified what it will speak.
What it will speak. Yes.
Okay?
Ubesa
Vakatiudza kuti chichataura kuti
sizofika
kudii.
And what's the mark?
The
Ko,
mark is,
munembo.
I'm going to just call it equality.
Munembo ndichaudaidza ndichiti kuenzana.
It's human rights in one sense as well, but I'll embody it in equality.
Okay?
Musentensi imwe
So
chete
I
ma-human
presume
rights
you mean lack of equality.
sando
Yes.
funga kuti kureva kuti kusava nekuenzana.
Anything else?
Pane chimwe here?
All good? Okay, so it's that part of her study that you picked up in the verses that, for you, tells you that she's the third angel.
Ndiyo part yestudy yavakatora mumavhesi kwauri zvinokuratidza kuti ivo i-third angel nemeseji yayo.
Justina,
Justina,
speak a little bit louder.
She gave us the history of the counterfeit and USA.
She gave us the history of the counterfeit.
vakatipa
Which
nhoroondo
counterfeit is that?
yecounterfeit.
Oh, wait there.
Counterfeit ipi?
umlando we-counterfeit imuphi lowo mlando we-counterfeit.
So she talked about the papacy and the history from the 1260s all the way to our time.
So she taught us about the papacy and said it's the counterfeit.
Vakatidzidzisa nezvepapacy vakatiudza kuti counterfeit.
iyona i-counterfeit leyo.
Is that what you just said?
Ndozvawataura here?
So did Jeff, so did I, so did dozens of other people before her.
Ndozvakaita Jeff, ndozvandakaitawo nevamwe vanhu vakawanda vakauya mashure kwavo.
And she went into the history of the Protestantism in detail.
I've got earbuds on today, so I can't hear you that well.
She then went into the history of Protestantism.
She went into the history of Protestantism.
Vakazoenda kunhoroondo yeprotestantism.
Which history is that?
Inhoroondo ipi?
From the 1700s all the way to our time.
From the 1700s to now.
Kubva kunana 1700 kuuya izvezvi.
And what does that mean?
Saka zvinorevei?
She was tracing the history of America so that we can be able to identify what America was back then and what it has become now.
So she gave us a commentary on the history of the United States, how it has fallen. I think that's what you're saying.
Saka vakatipa komentari yenhoroondo yeamerica kuti yakawa sei. Ndofunga ndozvawabva
So
kutaura.
you switched from the papacy to the United States.
Saka wabva kune papacy ukaenda kuunited states.
When I first made my sentence, I said she gave us the history of the counterfeit and USA.
Okay, I didn't hear that bit. That's why I asked you to repeat. So the history of the counterfeit,
Saka nhoroondo yecounterfeit
she just refined what was already taught.
vakangotsetsenura zvanga zvakatodzidziswa kare.
And the history of the USA, she just refined what was already taught.
Nhoroondo yeamerica vakangotsetsenura zvakanga zvadzidziswa kare.
And then in our time, she showed us where the USA is and how it's developing into, how it's beginning to speak as a dragon.
So she showed us how the USA is beginning to speak as a dragon.
Saka vakatiratidza kuti USA yakutanga sei kutaura sechikara.
Which is what Elder Jeff did.
Zvinova zvakaitwa naelder Jeff.
And where's all that in these verses?
Izvi zviri mumavhesi
Speaking as
pari
dragons and
kutaura sechikara nezvimwe zvese izvi.
Do you want me to read the verse back to you?
Unoda kuti ndikuverengere vhesi here?
I'll read the verse
Ndoverenga
because it doesn't
vhesi
mention dragons.
nekuti haritauri
And the third
nezvezvikara.
angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God.
So when you speak of the beast and its image, you go back to Revelation 18, which then takes also to
So we've got the beast and the image.
saka tine
neSL
chikara
sinemfanekiso wacho.
neimage yacho. Chikara nemufananidzo wacho.
And she said she taught you what the beast was
Vakakudzidzisa
and
kuti
what the image was. Taught us.
vakatidzidzisa kuti chikara chii uye mufananidzo wacho
She
chii.
defined them.
Vakazvidefina here.
Wakuchaza lokho.
I don't think she explicitly said that this was the beast or this was the image.
So she didn't tell us who the beast and the image was.
Saka havana kutiudza kuti chikara ndiyani, mufananidzo ndiyani,
Imifanekiso.
But she's going to warn you not to get their mark.
asi vachakupa warning yekuti usawana
Sinawamukeli umfanekiso.
munembo wazvo.
And you said, who are they? So
Ivo
I can
ukati
avoid their mark.
ndivanani kuti ndigogone kuavoida munembo wavo.
Kwamukela lo phawu.
She didn't explicitly say, but you can deduce from her messages that if you compare to what Ellen White was saying, she's sort of applying that in a way.
So she didn't tell you who the beast or the image was. You worked it out yourself.
Saka havana kuudza kuti chikara ndiyani, mufananidzo ndiyani, wakazviwekera out wega here.
I think that's the definition of deduction.
Ndofunga ndo definition yekudedusa.
Lokho bese uyiphethe.
That's what I have to say.
Okay, in your deductions,
Muma-deductions ako,
because she didn't tell you,
kuti havana kuudza.
Wakazame kusho.
who's the beast?
Ndiyani
Ubanisile.
chikara.
You just check on the board. Someone else has already defined what the beast is.
Ukatarisa pabhodhi mumwe munhu atotudza kuti chikara
What are you
ndiyani.
saying the beast is?
Iwo uri kuti chikara ndiyani.
Ubanisile.
I think I'll pass for now. I just need to get my thoughts together. I can come next week.
Okay. She's going to pass, which is fine.
Achati zvimbopfuura zvinova zvakanaka.
Alright.
I don't mean to put you in a hard spot, but Elder Tess is supposed to be in the hot seat.
Handisi kuti enda pahot seat, asi Elder Tess vanofanira kunge varipo pahot seat.
And you're supposed to be advocating on her behalf.
Vanofanira kunge uchiadvocata on behalf yavo.
And you just said she didn't tell you.
Iwo ukati havana kukuudza,
Zama kutshela.
You have to work it out yourself.
unofanira kuzvionera wega.
And you didn't.
Iwo hauna kuzviita.
I'll work it out. I just need to get my thoughts together.
That's fine. But leaving it a bit late to work it out.
Asibekele nje ikamuva so bese sibheka futhi.
Someone had their hand up over here.
Pane anga aine
Who had
ruoko
hand up?
rwake apa.
Milton.
Milton.
According to verse 9,
Verse 9.
she
Verse 9.
did something like we had an old understanding of what the Mass is, which was the Sabbath, and she moved us to understand that the Mass is not the Sabbath.
Okay, so she took the word mark.
Vakatora vara rekuti mark.
Okay, so I'm going to... So I put question marks here. So the third one. So now she takes the mark. And she said the mark was what?
Mark kwakuti
Before.
mark chi
Bese wathi
mashure.
uphawu loluyini olwani.
We had an understanding that is to do with keeping the Sabbath. All along from Ellen White to unbelief.
Can I call it Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. So she said the mark is Sunday.
Vakati mark isandi.
Usuku lesonto.
And then she says,
Kwakusoti.
not anymore.
Haisisiri.
Bese ashintsha athi akusenjalo.
That's all?
Ndizvozvo.
Phelele lapho.
She didn't tell you what the mark is?
Havana kudza kuti mark yacho chii.
Uphawu yini?
We can put different type. I think she
I'm not saying that's the right answer. I'm just saying someone else said it was. They said the mark was equality. I'm
Handisi kuti ndiyo right answer pandikungoti mumwe munhu ati yaiva equality.
asking what you think Elder Tess said.
Zvaunofunga kuti Elder Tess vakati.
Utheni uDaltes?
in my summary, I think the Mark is
Patriarchy.
Musamari yangu mark inenge iri patriarchy.
Ubunhloko.
So the mark changes from Sunday worship to patriarchy.
Saka munembo unoshandwa kubva kune kunamata Sunday kuuya kupatriarchy.
So if you, in the past, if you, in a certain time period, if you worshipped God on Sunday,
Saka
kept that as
kumashure
your day of rest,
pane imwe nguva kana wainamata Mwari musi wesvondo uchiichengeta sezuva rako
you'd
rezororo,
receive a mark.
waizogamuchira munembo.
And now, if you practice patriarchy, you'll receive a mark.
Izvezvi kana uchipractisa nyaya dzepatriarchy unogamuchira munembo.
Okay? Who gives the mark?
Ndiani anopa munembo?
Who gives you this mark?
Ndiani anopa munembo uyu?
I'll give you two options.
Ndokupa maoption maviri,
The world or God?
nyika here kana kuti ndiMwari.
Okay, we all agree with that?
Anzi inyika.
Yeah? The evil powers give you this mark.
Masimba awakaipa ndiwo anokupa munembo uyu.
Okay with that, Elder Russell?
Zvakanaka here Elder Russell?
You're not sure?
Hamuchazivi.
Forget patriarchy. I said, who gives you the mark?
Auzi chimbomira zvepatriarchy ndati ndiani anokupa munembo?
Everybody lines up and you get a mark,
Munhu
either in
wese
your head or on your hand.
anomira mumutsetse mowana mark either pahuma kana
And I just
paruoko.
asked, who gives it to you?
Ndakubvunza kuti ndiani anokupa?
Who's the one with the stamp?
Ndiani ane chidhindo?
The world. So you agree?
Anzi inyika, saka
Anybody
unotenda nazvo.
disagree?
Pane anorambirana nazvo here?
Right? Elder Gracious, you go ahead. You don't disagree or you do agree?
I agree and also agree.
Sure.
So there are two marks, the mark of the beast and then the mark of God. So for patriarchy,
There are two marks, the mark of God and the mark of the beast.
Pane minembo miviri, waMwari newechikara.
the mark that is good, that leads to, okay, the mark that is of God is the one that leads to salvation, and then the one of the beast, which is patriarchy, which leads to destruction.
So the mark of God leads to salvation, you said?
Mark yaMwari inotisvitsa kuruponeso, ndozvawataura.
And the mark of the beast leads to destruction.
Munembo wechikara wotisvitsa pakuparadzwa.
And which mark are we talking about in these verses?
Mumavhesi aya tinotaura mark ipi?
The mark of the beast,
Munembo
not
wechikara,
God.
kwete waMwari.
Everybody okay with that?
Zvakanaka here?
Often,
Vese?
sorry, yeah. Often we call the mark of God something else.
Kazhinji mark yaMwari tinoidaidza tichita
We
nerimwe
used to call it the
zita.
seal of God.
Tinoidaidza chiti seal yaMwari.
Ellen White used to jump through some logic to make the seal the Sabbath,
Ellen White aimboshandisa imwe logic kuti ati seal ndiyo Sabbath.
which it really isn't.
Iyo isiri
But that's what she wanted to do.
asi ndozvaaida kuita.
Okay, so is everybody okay that the mark used to be Sunday and now Milton has used the word patriarchy, you might want to use another word. Cobus used the word inequality.
Zvakanaka here kuti mark yaimbova Sunday, Milton atiudza kuti yava patriarchy, Cobus ati yava inequality. Munhu anogona kushandisa simbo yaanoda kushandisa.
So I'm not trying to labour which word you want to use.
Handisi kuda kuzama kuti titi tinoshandisa vara ripi.
So are we all okay that Elder Tess spoke about the mark and redefined it from Sunday to, we'll just say, the subject of equality?
zvakatinakira here kuti elder tes vakatsanangura patsva kuti kunobviswa kubva kusunday kuenda kuti maki yava chii izvezvi.
And the cultural practice that does that is called patriarchy. That's why Milton used that word.
Cultural practice inoitisa izvozvo inodaidzwa ichinzi patriarchy, ndosaka Milton ashandisa vara iroro.
Erica?
Erica.
I just want to bring out something to get the mark here to follow a message. And this is where I want to bring the two streams of information in, but you also brought to the front.
So to receive the mark, you have to
Follow a message.
you have to follow a message, and as soon as you start thinking about a message, then we talk about two streams of information.
Saka kuti ugamuchire mark unofanira kutevedzera message. Patinotanga kutaura zvemessage takutotaura two streams dzeinformation.
Do you think it's okay if an angel makes a statement
Munofunga kuti zvakanaka here kana ngirozi kutaura
they take some symbol
votora imwe symbol
and they tell you what the symbol means,
vokuudza kuti symbol iyi inoreva
and then someone else stands up
umwe munhu osumuka
and says, that's good, angel,
ngirozi zvakanaka izvi,
but I think that symbol can also mean something else.
asi ndofunga kuti symbol iyi inogona kurevawo
Then the angel says, don't hijack my message.
ngirozi yoti musahijeka message yangu.
Do you think it's okay to do that
Mofunga kuti zvakanaka kuita
for
izvozvo
this member,
kumemba iyi
to redefine a previous symbol?
tsanangura patsva symbol yekumashure.
Kobusi saying yes?
So basa ari kuti hongu.
Erica?
Erica.
I don't have enough information to say, but if that person, that member, comes and says, I disagree with you, Angel, about your...
Don't disagree. I agree with your definition. I just want to add something.
He adds to it to enhance the angel's message.
Kana ari kuwedzera kuti
Okay? But the angel doesn't
avandudze
think
message
it
yake.
enhances it.
Asi ngirozi
That's the
haisi
problem.
kufunga kuti message yake yekuvandudza.
So has anybody else got any more comment?
Pane mumwe ane kutaura here?
Elder Gracious.
Elder Gracious.
So, all along, okay, we can also exist as they study. I thought I was seeing like that somehow that has been happening.
So you've seen somehow that happens.
Saka waona kuti izvi zvinoitika handiti?
So am I allowed to do that?
Saka ndobvumidzwa kuzviita here?
Am I allowed to meddle with Elder Tess's message?
Ndinobvumidzwa here kunokanya message yaElder Tess?
I think when we were discussing the angels and their messages,
When we're discussing angels and their messages,
we all agreed that
1 second, he needs to translate.
Anzi pati achitaura ngirozi nemessage dzayo,
we all agreed that the angel is to protect. One of their duties is to protect the message.
We all agreed beforehand, this is why I'm asking the question, that the angel has to protect their message.
tambotenderana kuti ngirozi inofanira kuchengetedza message yayo, ndosaka ndokubvunza.
Protecting the message is protecting you.
Protecta message kuprotecta iwewe.
So in that sense, then we can also agree that the angel is okay, is all right.
So we can all agree that the angel is okay, but this is part of the problem.
Saka togona kubvumirana kuti ngirozi zviri zvaitira iri kuita, asi ndo part
So two streams of information.
Saka mastream maviri einformation.
Who brought that idea to the movement?
Ndiani akaunza pfungwa iyi kumovement?
Erica, you spoke about two streams.
Erica
You said if you
wataura.
receive the mark, you have to have a message, and with the message you have to have two streams. So who taught us all of that?
Erika wataura nezve two streams, kuti ugamuchire mark unofanira kunzwa message kana iripo pane two message two streams.
The words, two streams of information information was brought in by, I think, by Albert Tess.
Okay, so Erica said elder test.
saka Erica ati ndi-elder test vakatiudza zve2 streams.
And Jacobus is going to just give us the name.
Copus ngotipa zita.
Elder Jeff.
Elder Jeff.
So Shafika, you agree with that?
Shafika unobvumirana nazvo here?
Tell me when Elder Jeff spoke about 2 streams of information.
Ndiudza kuti Elder Jeff vakataura zve2 streams of information rei.
Oh, she's going to do it.
Achatiudza.
The Time of the End magazine.
Mumagazini reTime of the End.
Forget the year.
Mbokanga mwazvegore.
The 2 rivers.
Vakatiudza nezvenzizi mbiri.
So Elder Jeff speaks about 2 rivers.
Elder Jeff anotiudza nezvenzizi mbiri.
Do you remember the names of the rivers?
Rangarira mazita enzizi idzi here?
Oh no, they can't do Euphrates.
Hatingaiti Euphrates.
It's Euphrates and Tigris, but we can't do that.
Euphrates neTigris asi hatigoni kuzviita izvozvo.
Okay? Let's help him. The Uli
Uli
and the Hiddekel.
neHiddekel.
Okay, so someone said, whoever it was,
Umwe munhu
oh,
ati
Elder Jeff had 2 streams of information.
Elder Jeff
Look at
vaiva
that.
ne2 streams of information honai.
And the problem is,
Dambudziko nderekuti
at that time,
panguva iyoyo
Elder Jeff, I'm going to say, was being influenced to not accept Elder Tessie's message.
Elder Jeff ndichati vaipiwa influence yekuti vasagamuchira message yaElder Tess.
Or maybe he had some prejudice against the message. I don't know.
Kana kuti vaiva neprejudice kumessage iyoyo pamwe
So we all
handisi.
said, look, Elder Jeff spoke about 2 streams.
Saka tese tati, alright, Elder Jeff vakataura nezve2 streams.
And he said,
Ivo vakati,
don't touch my rivers.
musabata nzizi dzangu.
Don't turn them into media streams.
Musadzishandura kudziita mamedia streams.
I define them as something different.
Ndinodzidefina sechimwe chinhu
I just
chakasiyana.
want to point that out.
Sandoda kungonongedzera zvinhu izvozvo.
Okay, so we've discussed the mark,
Saka tataura Mark,
and are we all sure that Elder Tess has spoken about the mark in a very specific way?
tese taane sure kuti Elder Tess vataura nezveMark nenzira iri specific.
We okay with that, Justina?
Justina zvakanaka here izvi?
We don't have to work it out ourselves.
Hazvirevi kuti tinofanira kuzviitira work out tega.
In fact, we're not allowed to,
Hatitobvumidzwi
because that would make us angels,
nekuti zvinotiita isusu kuti tinge tiri ingirozi,
which is a different model.
inova model yakasiyana.
She's going to tell you don't get something. She has to tell you get it from whom and what it is.
Vachakudza kuti usawana zvimwe zvinhu, vanokudza kuti zviwane kubva kuna ani uye kuti zvii zvauri
So
kufanira
if we're
kuwana.
happy that she's defined the mark,
Tikafara kuti vari kudefina Mark,
then we have to discuss some other components.
tebva tafanira kudiscasa mamacomponents.
Before we do that,
Tisati taita izvozvo,
Elder Tess gave the midnight cry message, I think.
Elder Tess vakapa message yemidnight cry.
Yeah, we all
Ndofunga
agree with that.
tese totenda nazvo.
What is the midnight cry message?
Message yemidnight cry ndeipi?
What is that?
Chii ichocho?
Go speak the issue.
There's a call made that the bridegroom is coming at midnight. It's a wake-up call.
Rukoko hanzi runoitwa
It's a wake-up
pamidnight
call.
rwokumutsa vanhu kuti bridegroom ava kuuya.
Anyone else?
Pane mumwe here hanzi wake up
And the
call.
message is what?
Message hanzi ndeyekuti kudii?
Jesus is coming.
Jesu ari
So we said-
kuuya. Ndozvavataura.
Yeah, it's, I'm using the midnight cry and said the bridegroom is coming. It means everything is now in process for him to come. He's coming. He's not yet there, but he's coming.
So, in the parable,
saka muparable
when the cry is given at midnight,
kuchema kwakunoitwa pamidnight apa
can they see the bridegroom?
vanoona here bridegroom?
They can't see the bridegroom?
Havasi kuona bridegroom,
Then how do they know he's coming?
saka vanoziva sei kuti ari kuuya kana vasingagoni kumuona?
Because they hear a message is coming. They heard a voice, only a voice, which is then, for me, is a message.
Asi nekuti vakanzwa izwi
So, the
rinova
person who
message.
gives the cry heard a message.
Saka munhu anopa kuchema uku akanzwa message.
Who was giving that message?
Ndiani akapa message iyoyo?
Someone in the bridegroom's party shouting, or
Mumwe munhu ari mupati yemabridegroom achidaidzira here kana kuti?
It doesn't, in the parable it doesn't say so, but I believe so. It must be somebody of the bridegroom that knows the time is near, that have information that the others doesn't have, the 10 virgins doesn't have.
so just want to make sure we get straight. There's a house here,
Pane imba apa,
and who's in the house?
ndiani ari mumba?
10 virgins.
Mavirgins 10.
And I'm going to say someone's outside,
Chati pane munhu anenge ari panze,
and who's that?
ndiani iyeye?
Someone who gives the cry.
Mumwe munhu anopa kuchema.
The 10 virgins expected the bridegroom to come earlier.
Mavirgins 10 vaitarisira kuti bridegroom anouya earlier.
They get tired and they go to sleep.
Vanoneta vodzokera kunovata.
This person stays on watch,
Munhu uyu anoramba akamuka,
and when they're all sleeping,
pavanenge vazorara vese,
the person says,
munhu uyu anobva ati
the bridegroom is coming.
bridegroom ava kuuya.
So why did they say that at midnight, not 11 or 1?
Sei vakazvitaura pakati pousiku kwete pana 11 o'clock kana pana 1 o'clock?
Sure. So there's the land and there's a hill over here.
Saka heyo land pane chikomo chiri panapa.
At midnight, is the bridegroom there shouting, and this person can hear the bridegroom?
Pamidnight bridegroom aripo apa here achidaidzira, munhu uyu achigona kunzwa bridegroom?
Or is the bridegroom here
Kana kuti bridegroom
and the
ari
person can
necheapa,
see the bridegroom?
munhu uyu ari kugona kuona bridegroom?
I can only take what the parable says.
I'm only doing that too.
No, I want to explain something. So, if the bridegroom had screamed, then would not that other person by the house heard the bridegroom himself, and then he would have said, the bridegroom screamed, I'm coming. So it must be somebody that saw the bridegroom coming. And
This is the only person that's awake, the one by the house.
Uyu ndiyega munhu
So they either see or hear.
akamuka, either vanoona kana kuti vanonzwa.
maybe I intertwined the see and hear too much because we know it's a message.
That's fine. What we say, we know it's a message. Who's giving the message?
Toza kuti imessage, ndiani ari kupa message?
Not that it
1 second. Okay. There are 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. The virgins, the person, and the bridegroom.
Kune mapoka matatu, virgin, munhu nebridegroom.
Who's giving the cry?
Ndiani ari kupa
Just tell me
kuchema?
the number.
Chingondipawo nhamba yacho.
Number 2.
Hanzi number 2.
Who's giving the message?
Kwari kupa message ndiani?
Give me the number.
Ndipei nhamba.
Don't help her.
Usamubatsira.
Well, a cry
Just give me the number. Who's giving the message?
Ndiani ari kupa message?
Number 2.
Number
So
2.
just want to clarify that the message is the cry.
Chekesa kuti message ndokuchema.
And that cry or that message is being given
Kuchema uku kana message iri kupiwa
because the bridegroom is almost there and can either be heard or seen.
nekuti bridegroom akusvika. Either vanhu vari kumunzwa kana kuti vari kumuona.
All good with that?
Zvakanaka here izvi?
Cobus, you wanted to say anything?
Cobus.
All sorted out now? Anyone else?
Pane
Yes.
mumwe here?
I was thinking that the 10 virgins are in the house.
So I put the 10 virgins in the house. I'm not saying they're literally there. I just invented that. So carry on.
Saka ndaisa ma10 virgins mumba hanzi kuti zviripo literally. Enderera
And
mberi.
then there's one who's outside.
And there's one who's outside.
Saka uyanga achifunga kuti pane ma10 virgins mumba, pane mumwe munhu ari panze.
Literal way where it's in the night, right? So this person outside could have seen and heard, because the bridegroom will not be alone.
So the bridegroom is not alone. It's dark and it's midnight.
Bridegroom anenge asiri ega, pakati pousiku kwakasviba.
So the one who's outside could have seen like a light. Remember, it's night, it's dark, so they have lights to show their way. So they could have seen the light and heard the screamings of those people with the bridegroom.
Okay, so they could see the light and hear.
Saka vaigona kuona chiedza chevari kuuya nebridegroom nekunzwawo
I'm
vachipururudza.
pretty sure, almost sure,
Ndine sure
that they have lights
kuti vane chiedza
and that they're singing.
uye kuti vari kuimba.
Okay? All good? Good. Erica?
Erica,
In the Jewish time period, of that time period, there was a thing that the bride did. She put a lamp in the window that the bridegroom can see to go to her.
So there's a lamp in the window.
saka pane lamp riripo pawindow.
So, the midnight cry,
Saka
Who's the
midnight
bridegroom?
cry. Ndiani bridegroom?
Jesus?
Chijesu.
Who's the 10 virgins?
Koma 10 virgins ndiani?
Us? Someone said us.
Munhu ati ndisu.
And this is Elder Tess.
Ava ndi Elder Tess ndoyemba.
All good?
Ndizvozvo here?
Yeah? When did Elder Tess in 2018 say Jesus is coming? I can see him.
Na 2018 ndepapi Elder Tess pavakati Jesu ava kuuya ndiri kumuona.
I don't mean that in a silly way.
Handisi kuzvireva nenzira irisidi.
Where in your message does she talk about that? The near coming of the close of probation, Jesus is about to come, the world's wrapped up.
Mamessages avo ndepapi pavanotaura nezvekuti Jesu akuuya, vharwa kwomutsa kwakusvika, nyika yakunopenderwa.
I just don't recall the midnight cry having those properties to them.
Handicharangariri midnight cry ine maproperty akaita seakadaro.
Okay, midnight cry, Milton.
Alright, midnight cry, Milton.
So that parable was fulfilled in part in two histories, the history of Christ and the history of the Millerites.
So this parable was fulfilled in the history of Christ and the history of the Millerites.
Saka parable rakafulfilwa paviri, munhoroondo yaKristu nemunhoroondo yemaMillerites.
And in those two histories, they were expecting the literal coming of Christ. So the virgins were giving a cry of his coming.
So in those histories, they were expecting the literal coming and the virgins were giving this cry.
Saka munhoroondo idzi vaitarisira kudzoka kwaJesu kuri literal, uye mavirgins ndo vaipa kuchema uku.
But in our time at the end, we know that there is a test before his second advent. So in our time, it has to be the Sunday law first, which is trying to be coming, which we know after that, the second advent comes after.
So in our time, we know that there are some prerequisites before the second Advent,
saka munguva yedu
and
tinoziva
they have to
kuti
be considered.
pane
So,
ma-prerequisites before kristu auya, ende ma-prerequisites aya anofanira kutariswa,
which is the Sunday law.
prerequisite inova iyo Sunday law.
So tell me what the midnight cry was.
Saka chindiudza kuti midnight cry chaiva chii,
The message, what was it?
yaiva meseji ipi, chaiva chii?
Because it wasn't Jesus is coming.
Kwaisava kuti Jesu ari kuuya.
Milton?
Milton,
We've got lots of people. You can all participate. We already had the people at the front doing stuff. Sorry?
For me, it's a Sunday law.
Sunday law. So she said
Sunday Sunday law.
at the midnight cry message, the Sunday law is coming.
saka pa-midnight cry message vakataura ivo kuti Sunday law iri kuuya.
That's it.
Ndizvozvo
That was the midnight cry message.
ndo yanga iri message ye-midnight cry.
My friend and then Tata.
I think the midnight cry message was a message in fact which was warning us to come out of conservative mindset of patriarchy.
So the midnight cry message was a call to come out of conservative mindset
Of patriarchy.
and patriarchal
Midnight
mindset.
cry message yaiti
That was to do with the
tibudai
midnight cry.
conservative mindset kana kuti mupatriarchy, ndo kwaari zvaiva midnight cry.
I'm always tempted to say come out of Babylon, but
Ndatombotempta kuti ngatibudei mubhabhiloni,
that means you were in Babylon if I do that.
zvinozoreva kuti waiva mubhabhiloni kana dei ndaita izvozvo.
If you're going to say come out of patriarchy, I'm forced to put Babylon, aren't I?
Ukati budai mupatriarchy ndomanikidzirwa kunyora bhabhiloni kabo, sandizvo here?
Okay, I have to do it, sorry.
Regai ndingozvinyora, sorry.
So you were in Babylon.
Saka iwe uri mubhabhiloni,
I'll put mindset. Maybe
ndichati
that can get us
pfungwa
some wiggle
dzechibhabhiloni
room.
pamwe zvogona kuti
And you said, oh, conservative
ukati
and patriarchy.
kubuda muconservatism nemupatriarchy.
So you're saying the midnight cry message said, come out of this wrong mindset that you have.
Saka uri kuti message ye-midnight cry yakati buda mupfungwa dzisiri idzo dzauinadzo,
That's it.
ndizvozvo.
Just to add, it was actually our understanding of the Sunday law, the message.
Explain that a bit more. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Ukatsanangura zviri nani?
Both what Milton said and what Patrick said is that we had a wrong mindset of what the Sunday law is.
So the midnight cry is going to fix this conservative mindset
Saka midnight cry ichagadzirisa pfungwa idzi
and
dzechiconservative,
fix what the great test is,
yogadzirisa kuti test huru chii
or the mark,
kana munembo
and
wacho chii,
correct both of them.
yogadzirisa zvese zviri zviviri.
Is that what you said?
Zvawataura.
In a different dispensation from Ellen White and the Millerites, we still had some same thinking as the Millerites, that there was going to be some sort of a law, which might not be a Sunday law, but a law which is going to be passed, that's going to mark the Sunday.
So, even though we had developed in our understanding, we still held on to many Millerite concepts or models.
Kunyange tata nekunzwisisa, takanga tichiri nekubatirira kuma-concepts mamwe akawanda ekuma-Millerites.
So someone summarise what the midnight cry message did or is or was.
Saka munhu ngaasamaraize kuti midnight cry message yakaitei kana kuti yaiva chii.
Looking at the parable, what exactly was the person who cries evidence does is that she segments the virgins into different.
So in the parable, there's a cry given,
Saka muparable kunochema kunopuwa.
and it's a warning, you said?
Saka iwarning ndo
And the
zvawataura.
door's about to be shut.
Masuo anenge obva ovharwa.
Carry on past that, past the
Enderera
door.
mberi. Pfuura musuo.
Does is that she segments the virgins into can I say lines, whereby it says that for these virgins they come as the priests, you can see them as Levites, and you can see them as Levites.
So she compartmentalizes the virgins, puts them in some kind of order.
Saka vanokompartmentalize mavhejeni vomaisa mune order.
So for the first group, the priests,
I don't need to go into the details, I just want to know what the midnight cry was as a concept.
Asida kupinda mudetail ndongozoti seconcept midnight cry chaiva chii.
so basically it tells them that there's a door that's imminent.
A door, there's going to be a shut door.
Saka inovaudza kuti pane musuo uchavharwa.
And she actually puts dates for the doors that are.
You tell me when the shut door is.
Ndiudza kuti shut door racho riri papi.
So for the priest it says 2019.
Kumapriests hanzi 2019.
Any more?
Pane mamwe here?
Yeah, so
Is that right, 21?
so in other words she
Any more?
Pane rimwe ranzi 21.
You mentioned 3 groups.
Wataura maboka matatu.
I'm expecting a third door.
so there's
Ndikutarisira rimwe dho rechitatu.
I got that?
2024.
Okay.
Saka
Any more points?
2019, 2021 ne2024.
From the parable, these guys who are sleeping,
They're not guys, by the way. There's some women there.
Havasi maguys vakarara. Mune madzimai
In
varimo.
fact, in the parable, they're all women.
Muparable vatori madzimai vega vega.
they have to keep their lamps and get ready to meet it. Right?
Okay, thank you. Did Tess mention 19, 21 and 24?
Tessa akataura here 19, 21 ne24.
You said she said the shut door. Did she give you when the shut door is happening?
Wati shut door akakuudza kuti shut door iri kuitika papi.
Because you inferred that she did.
Nekuti ndo zvawarerekera kutaura kuti akaita.
She gave you 19?
Akupa 19.
You said yes?
Wati hongu.
She gave you 21?
Akupa 21.
And she gave you 24?
Akupa 24.
She can give you 24.
Anokupa 24.
Russell.
Russell.
Oh, he said trim lamps.
Ati kutrima malamps.
Go ahead.
Okay. If we look at Matthew chapter 25,
What's that? Matthew 25 is the parable of the 10 virgins.
Matthew 25 parable ima 10 virgins.
the duty of one who gave the cry to tell the virgins that
So it was the duty of the person who cried to tell the virgins.
Hanzi raiva basa reuyo aiuya nekuchema kupakati pousiku kuti audze mavirgins.
Oh, we've got to translate.
to like tell them that the bridegroom is coming.
So, duty or not duty?
No.
Start your sentence again.
Tangidza kutaura kwako.
It was the duty or it's that person that actually
So it's not the duty of that person to tell the virgins that the bridegroom's coming.
Saka hanzi harisi basa remunhu iyeye kuti audze mavirgins kuti bridegroom ouya.
Because from the beginning of the journey, they actually knew that the bridegroom will come.
Because right from the start, the virgins knew that the bridegroom was coming.
Noda kuti kubva kwekutanga mavirgins vaiziva kuti bridegroom akuuya.
Yeah, but there's a point when actually the coming delayed.
The coming gets delayed.
Panozononotswa kuuya kwacho.
They sleep and they don't know when, but they know that he needs to come, but they don't know when.
Vanorara asi
They don't know when he's coming and they fall asleep.
havazivi kuti anouya rini.
All the steps you're doing, we already know. I'm not sure what the point you're
Izvi
making.
zvese zvauri kuita totozvisiva, hanzi kuti uri kuda kubudisa pfungwa ipi.
The duty of that person was to let them like understand how soon.
So the person has a duty,
Saka
and the
munhu
duty is what?
ane duty. Duty racho nderipi?
The bridegroom is about to come.
So the duty of the person is to tell the virgins when the bridegroom is about to come.
Duty remunhu uyu nderekuudza mavirgins kuti bridegroom ari kuuya rini.
Yeah, and when it comes to us, we already knew that actually the Sunday was coming.
We already knew the Sunday law is coming.
Isusu taitoziva kuti Sunday law iri kuuya.
Yeah, but we were actually not aware of its nature and probably how soon it is.
Also what?
How soon it is.
How soon it was.
Pamwe taisaziva kuti iri kuuya nekukasika kwakadii.
And Elder Tales told you how soon it was.
Elder Tales vakakudza kuti iri kuuya nekukasika kupi.
Did she tell you how soon it was?
Vakakuudza here kuti iri kuuya rini.
Yes.
Hanzi hongu.
I must have missed that study.
Pamwe chidzidzo ichocho ndakadarikirwa nacho.
She had to point out like the movements which were already taking place that these are the movements which are going to bring the Sunday law.
Hanzi
She
vakatiudza
speaks about movements
mamovements anga ari kuitika
which are going to bring about the Sunday law.
kuti aya ndiwo achaunza Sunday law.
Okay?
Alright.
And she had to point at them that they're actually present.
She tells us that they're already here.
Vakatotiudza
Which we
kuti
already knew.
atovapo zvataitoziva nechekare.
You didn't already know that the threefold enemy is already here.
Wausati wakuzviziva here kuti muvengi weubatanzwa hutatu anga atopo.
Sure you did.
Waitozviziva wani.
But you maybe was looking at some different enemies,
Pamwe waitarisa mamaenemy vakasiyana.
like the UN.
Pamwe waitarisa UN.
Yeah, she pointed at them and that to actually show us that we are looking to like we expected like the Sunday law from actually wrong side, and she had to show us that where the Sunday law is coming from is the other side.
We were looking at the wrong side, and she's going to tell us it's a different side.
Pamwe tatakatarisa wrong side, ivo vachatiudza kuti kune different side.
What's the side?
Side racho nderipi?
Expected it to come from the left wing.
So you expected it to come from the left wing, and she's going to tell you it's come from the right wing.
Ivo vaitarisira kubva ku left wing, ivo votiudza kuti rinobva ku right wing.
So you thought the Democrats were going to bring in a Sunday law.
Saka waifunga kuti mademocrats vachaunza Sunday law.
You really thought that?
Yeah, because their views like and our views when we are like conservative.
So in 2016,
So muna 2016,
before the Midnight Cry message,
midnight cry message isati yauya.
the fight between Clinton and Trump,
Kurwa kuri pakati paClinton naTrump,
when this movement was teaching that the last president would be Trump,
movement inopa yaidzidzisa kuti president wokupedzisira anenge ari Trump.
You didn't think that that president was going to bring in a Sunday law.
Hauna here kufunga kuti president iyeye aizounza Sunday
You
law.
thought it was going to be someone else.
Waifunga kuti aiva mumwe munhu.
The type of the Sunday law that we actually thought that it will come from.
I'm not talking about the type of the Sunday law. I'm
Handisi
talking
kutaura
about
nemhando
the
yeSunday
side.
law. Ndiri kutaura nezvemunongedzo wacho.
I'm just saying, 2 years before the midnight cry message,
Ndingoti makore 2 midnight cry message isati yauya.
the movement was already teaching the sides.
Movement yanga yakutodzidzisa masides nechekare.
And it was only Elder Jeff's prejudices that stopped that developing into a proper, clear understanding.
Angori maprejudice aElder Jeff akazvimisa kuti zvisadevelopwa kuti zvigocheka nekunzwisisika kuri proper.
Just about the sides.
Maererano nemasides mativi aivapo.
Because we spoke about that either yesterday or the day before, I think.
Nokuti takataura nezvazvo ndofunga nezuro kana kuswera nezuro.
Okay, so I'm going to move on a little bit.
Ndichafambira mberi zvishoma.
Before I do that, I'll take 2 questions.
Satadaro pane mibvunzo miviri.
About 4 questions.
Yava mina.
We'll start at the very back.
Tichatangira mumashure-shure.
Yes, summarize what the midnight cry message is, please.
Mati summarize kuti midnight cry message chi.
In my simple mind, I think that the midnight cry message was to tell us just change your worldview.
Okay? So the midnight cry message
Saka message midnight cry
says, change your worldview.
inoti shandura maonero aunoita nyika.
Who is this?
Ndiani uyu?
Us.
Isu.
Okay, next person.
All right, next person.
So I want to say the midnight cry message was telling us that the message is about righteousness by faith. So we are changing from understanding that it's to do with the Sabbath, now it's to do.
So you're saying the midnight cry message was teaching us the message of righteousness by faith as opposed to the Sabbath.
Saka ukutudza kuti midnight cry message yaitidzidzisa message ye-righteousness by faith.
Is that what you said?
Sisiri zveSabbath. Ndizvo
How to
kutaura.
treat one another.
Tobatana sei zvakanaka.
So, did you ever believe that the Sabbath was the seal of God?
Wakambotenda here iwe kuti Sabata ndiyo siu yaMwari?
Do you still believe that it's the seal of God?
Uchiri kuzvitenda here kuti isiu yaMwari?
Just asking my friend, do you still believe it's the seal of God?
Uchiri kutenda kuti isiu yaMwari here?
It is not our test.
I didn't ask you that.
Handina kuvhunza izvozvo.
I asked you, do you still believe it's the seal of God?
Ndakuvhunza kuti uchiri kutenda
Because
here
you don't believe
kuti
it's the seal of God.
isiu yaMwari. Saka utendi kuti isiu yaMwari.
So, you don't believe it's the seal or the mark of God's righteousness.
Saka utendi kuti ndiyo siu here kana ndiyo mark yekururama kwaMwari.
Okay? So, in the time of Christ,
Ati kwete munhoroondo yedu. Zvikabva
what
zvanzi
was the
alright.
great test then?
Saka munguva yaKristu great test ipapo yaiva yekuti kudii?
What was the great test that Jesus brought to the people?
Great test yakaunzwa naJesu kuvanhu yaiva ipi?
The message was different then, but it was to do with the kingdom.
It was the great test was to do with the kingdom.
Great test yaiva nechekuita neumambo.
I'm not sure how to treat one another. I think Christ was teaching the same thing, something like that.
Same thing as Elder Tess.
Kristu aidzidzisa zvinhu zvakafanana zvafanana nezvaElder Tess here.
Okay? And
Zvikanzi hongu kuti
all
totiitana
of
sei.
his physical parables that he's doing, his life, is all centered around what subject?
maparable avo ese ari physical upenyu hwake hwese zvese zviri kutenderera
we should all know
parable ipi pasubject ipi tese tofanira kunge chiziva
Sabbath keeping.
kuchengetedzwa kwesabata.
You go to almost every conflict, it's all about how to keep the Sabbath.
Ukaenda mumaconflicts ose zvawo ndezvekuti tochengeta
And then
sei
in the midst of
sabata.
all of that, Jesus gives a new law,
Pakati pazvo zvose Jesu obva apa mutemo
which is
mutsva
the law of how to treat one another properly.
unova mutemo wekuti tobatana sei zvakanaka.
I think we're on the wrong track when we start trying to separate Sabbath keeping from how to treat one another.
Ndofunga kuti tinenge tapinda munzira isiriyo tikada kupatsanura kuchengetedzwa kwesabata nekuti tobatana
next
sei
person.
zvakanaka. Okay,
There's no one
mnamutevera.
else? Yes?
I want to say the summary of the Midnight Cry is the Midnight Cry is a refinement message.
It's a refinement message.
Andachida kuti summary Midnight Cry imessage yerefinement
Refines our understanding of the Sunday law.
So
yakatsetsenura.
it doesn't refine it, it changes our understanding of the Sunday law.
Haitsetsenuri, inoshandura kunzwisisa kwedu kweSunday law.
It addressed also the when and the what.
The when
Yeah, the when,
and the what.
yes.
Hanzi
But in
yakabata kuti
2018, we
rini
weren't told when.
uye kuti chii. Asi muna 2018 hatina kuudzwa kunzi iriko rini.
Elder Terry has stood up and said when, not
Elder
Elder
Terry
Tess.
ndo akasumuka akatiudza kuti iriko rini kwete Elder Tess.
Yeah, it wasn't explicitly explained in 2018.
Hazvina kutsanangurwa pachena 2018.
I thought that it was addressed through identifying the agitation period, which is
The what?
the agitation period, which is the time of the levels.
Sure, I agree that Elder Tess was giving all the things that you've just said about the agitation,
Totenda kuti
the
Elder
signs
Tess
of the
vakatipa
time.
zvese izvi maagitation masigns etime zvese zvavataura izvozvo.
But everybody, before, during, and after Elder Tess, knew that the time is near.
Asi munhu wese before uye Elder Tess vapo uye after munhu wese aiziva kuti nguva yacho yaswedera.
She helped clear many things, many misconceptions.
Vakabetsera kuclear zvinhu zvakawanda namisconceptions
doesn't give a
akawanda
when.
atinawo asi still havatipi kuti rini.
I'm saying the when was in the symbol 723.
Sure, the symbols don't give you dates.
Masimbo haatipi madates.
What she was doing, if you're going to start using symbology, that's what the movement has done. That's what Elder Jeff was doing.
Kana ukatanga kushandisa symbology ndo zvakaita movement ndo zvazviri kuita Elder Jeff.
If you'd asked Elder Tess, give us the date, she would have just said, I don't know, I presume.
Dei makabvunza Elder Tess kuti tiudzewo zvinoitika rini, vaingoti handizivi ndofunga.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
Tichafambira mberi.
So, with Elder Tess, right? So she came and she was like, she came in the land of the priest. She was like, there was a Sunday law and we didn't see it. So the person.
Sorry, there's a Sunday law and we don't. Tell me what the Midnight Cry message is.
The Midnight Cry message is telling us about the shut door.
The Midnight Cry message is telling us about the shut door.
Midnight Cry message hanzi iri kutiudza nezve-shut door.
What is the shut door?
Shut door chii?
The shut door is to tell people that
No, just tell us what the shut door is.
the shut door is a close of probation.
Close of probation.
Shut door hanzi kuvharwa kwemuti.
And the Midnight Cry told you about what close of probation.
Midnight Cry yakakuudza nezve close of probation ipi.
It told us that to
and we're supposed to, people didn't really understand.
So it tells us that 2019 is the close of probation.
And saka yakatudzwa kuti 2019 ndokufarwa kwemutsa.
And you can start asking, okay, and she comes and say that you are you're in a wrong side of the issue and you don't really understand. For people to know that there's a shutdown, they have to understand why is there a shutdown or what does it involve. So what Elder Test did was to say that there's going to be a shutdown and the shutdown is going to be regarding this. If you,
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Andisinaziva
You
kuti
repeat
kudii.
yourself. She says there's a shut door and you need to prepare.
Anoti kune shutdown unofanira kugadzirira.
I got that.
Zvozvo ndazvinzwa.
yeah,
That's it? Or okay. Let me just ask you a question about this shut door in 2019.
Reka ndikubvunze mubvunzo neshutdown ya2019.
And you need to prepare before the door shuts.
Unofanira kugadzirira so usati wavharwa.
What happens if you wait till 2020?
Chii chinoitika kana ukamirira kusvikira 2020
After the door has shut? Before you answer that one,
usati wapindura
who's the
iwoyo?
door shutting for?
Ndo iri kuvharira ani?
For the priest.
Anzi mapriest.
So you're a priest.
Saka uri mupriest.
2018.
2018
She says next year the door's going to shut.
vobva vatiwo gore rinouya musuwo uri kuvhara.
And you say,
Iwoti
I'll wait a bit longer to prepare.
changoti mirei zvishoma kuti ndigadzirire.
I'll start getting ready in 2020.
Ndichatanga kugadzirira muna 2020.
What happens?
Chii
It's
chinoitika?
too late?
Wanonoka here?
Too late.
Wanonoka.
You can't prepare after 2019.
Hauchagoni kugadzirira after 2019.
as a priest, yes, I see, yes.
So you're lost now.
Anzi semupriest wangu. Iye ati semupriest wangu. Zvikanzi saka
So
unewarasika
if
izvezvi here.
you wait,
Saka ukamirira
then you're not lost?
then usina kurasika here.
Not sure? Just want to clarify for everybody.
Ndangochekesera munhu wese.
Wherever you want to think 2019 was,
Zvisinei nokuti unoda kufunga kuti 2019 chachiri chii
or 21 or 24,
kana 21 kana 24
they're not real shut doors.
haasi kuvharwa kwemasuwo
They're not
chaiko
close
chaiko.
of probation.
Hakusi kuvharwa kwemutsa.
Many people lost their way over that issue in the past.
Vanhu vakawanda vakarasika nzira nenyaya iyoyi kumashure.
Just because we called it a shut door,
Noda kuti takangoidaidza
Or the close
tichiti
of probation.
shutdown kana kuti kuvharwa kwemutsa.
there was no doors that were shut.
Hapana madhoo akambovharwa.
Okay,
Alright.
let's try and summarize.
Ngatisamei kumbosamaraiza.
Can I please share my thoughts?
I didn't see your hand, I'm sorry.
Okay, what I think the winner prime message is that it awakened us to the subject of the issue of gender. And I think that's what we were sleeping on.
Is it? Yep. So I think we've got that back here.
Ataura kuti minhai aiona sesubject yekuti takarara panhau dzegender. Zvikanzi tazvinyora kumashure uko.
So it awakens us to the subject of gender.
Saka tinomuka panyaya dzegender.
So I don't think we're going to be able to finish because we've run out of time, but I just want to make a couple of comments.
Handisi kuti tichagona kupedza here nokuti tapererwa nenguva asi da kutaura
What the 10
makomenti.
virgins supposed to be doing?
Vasikana vane gumi ava vanofanira kunge vachiitei.
We've got 1, 2, 3. What are the 10 virgins actually supposed to be doing?
Kana tiine zvitatu izvi vasikana vane gumi ava vanofanira kunge vachiitei.
They're supposed to be doing the job of number 2,
Vanofanira kunge vachiita basa ranumber 2
and there shouldn't be a number 2.
Panofanira kunge pasina number 2.
So those third virgins are lazy, they sleep.
Saka vasikana vane gumi ava vane usimbe vanobva
And
varara.
then someone takes their place.
Pouya mumwe munhu anotora nzvimbo
Just
yavo.
to remind us of that point.
Angotirangaridza nyumba iyoyo.
So the parable teaches, and I think several people brought this out.
Parable inodzidzisa ndokumva kuti vanhu vakawanda
Someone brought it out here
vazviburitsa pachena apa
about trimming of the lamps.
kutimwa kunoita malemba.
So when this cry is given
Chemaupa kunopuwa
that says we can see and hear the bridegroom coming,
kunoti tinoona nekunzwa bridegroom achiuya.
it gives you enough opportunity or enough time to wake up. Someone else said here, wake up.
Zvinotipa mikana yakawanda nenguva yakawanda yekumuka
And to prepare.
nekuti tigadzirire.
So I just want to summarize all of this.
Ndoda kungosamaraisa zvese izvi.
I think I'm just going to go with this one here.
Ndifunga ndichangotora iyi iri apa iyi.
So the midnight cry message
Saka message yemidnight cry
was a message to change our world view
yaiva message yekushandura muonero watinoita
in
nyika
preparation for the coming of the bridegroom.
tichigadzirira kuuya kwebridegroom.
And those virgins that don't prepare in time
Mavhejens avo vasingagadziriri munguva chaiyo
get left out of the procession.
vanozosiyiwa muprocession.
So if we're okay with summarizing, the midnight cry message is to prepare us
Kana
to enter into the feast, of course, the wedding.
zvakatinakira
But
kusamaraisa
it's an opportunity for us to change our world view, or in the parable, to prepare for the bridegroom to come.
midnight cry inotibetsera kuti tigadzirire mutambo, asi iopportunity yekushandira maonero atinoita nyika tichigadzirira kuuya kwabridegroom.
Are we all okay with that?
Zvakanaka here zvese izvi?
We've run out of time. Let's close this prayer.
Tapererwa nenguva, ngativharei nemunamata.